Alright, so, hello everyone and welcome back to Factorio. Let's click resume and then, let's see, when we last left off, I believe we were still poking away at Fulgora. And we've got all this stuff going, and we're just waiting on production of various objects, primarily quality recyclers and modules, which hopefully... Let's see, I can't remember what exact situation we were in. So, the recyclers are low on steel plates. And we are getting all of the legendary iron plates that we can at the moment. So that is just going to be slow. I believe we are recycling them up here. Barely. And we are somewhat significantly recycling them down here in theory. Although, in practice, it looks like we're actually using our legendary green circuits for something, which is a good thing if we also have a supply of legendary plates, which I don't know if we do. We do have green circuits going up this way. So let's... Okay, that's not gonna work. Let's start by just dismantling some of these guys down into plates. So that should get that supply running better. And somehow a red circuit made it through. Which definitely should not have done. So that should give us the recyclers we need. And hopefully won't break things other than that. So steel plates are still going. And then we just need all of this production back on Novice to work out. Which, let's see, what even is this production line on Novice? So we have red and green circuits, those are obviously available. We have red and blue circuits, those are obviously available, and we have legendary tungsten rods. So we're going to need legendary plastic for that, and I guess legendary copper, which should be somewhat available on Fulgora. I'm just trying to see if we can cut out the need to transport things back and forth. And the need for these, so it's one plastic for 5 superconductors, and then it's less than 1 superconductor per EM plant. Okay, so actually, if we go here, and we... No, because we're going to need productivity modules for it to set that up, which would be taking from up here, which we don't want to be doing because this needs it. And it's not technically any efficiency loss. It's just a bit of a delay. Okay, so yeah, that's fine. We're not going to worry about moving legendary module production here. So, for now, we've got this whole thing going. And it's not connected currently. Okay, now, how many items are on these individual belts? It's greater than 16. Your stack size is 16. So these should be stacks of 16, right? Now, let's see if I can... Because I'm kind of suspicious that they aren't actually stacks of 16. Because I keep occasionally seeing them passing by in groups of 8. So I don't know what is causing that to happen. But like, can we just find somewhere where there's just one individual stack. So what if we just take like a stack inserter off of this, and you are carrying 15, which is not 16, but is very close. And I guess that's gonna have to be fine. But we need to figure out what's causing these to stack to 8 occasionally, because I'm pretty sure that's a real thing. Like this number is not going properly. And that is absolutely necessary. Okay, so let's check one of these machines which is going frequently and see if we can spot it running. I wasn't looking at the right part of the screen. Alright. It does say 16. But, oh wait, is the hand stack size not the belt stack size? That could be the case. Let's search up stack size. Oh, I see. Okay, so these have different... I didn't realize that the stack inserter didn't transport 1 stack, it transports 4 stacks. So that's where we went wrong. Okay, so that means that the math on how much this can carry is 4 times too much, which does mean that, so instead of these being stacks of 16, these are stacks of 4, which, wish I'd known that a long time ago. And so yeah, one of these blocks carries multiple stacks. If you squint, you can see that there's 8 stacks in there, and that's 32. So yeah, that is indeed how that works. So if these belts only stack to 4, then the numbers are going to be very different, which means, I guess the bright side is we'll need fewer machines to do this whole thing. So let's figure that math out. So you are 30 stacks on half of a belt times 4 is 120 items total, and these are 8 each. So 120 divided by 8 is 80 plus 40 is 15. Is that correct? So we need theoretically 15 machines would completely saturate this instead of 40 like we have. And let's see, does that check out? Because we thought 40 would just about... We thought 40 would get 20 stacks per second when... Okay, wait, no. So here's another way of looking at it. This is 8 per second, which is 2 stacks per second, right? So 2 stacks per second... Yeah, so it's 15, because we have 30 there. Okay, so that's going to significantly decrease the output of this, which is a huge bummer. So that means that it's going to be more important that we get full use out of the belts then, which means I want to use both sides of the belt as much as possible for the green circuit transportation. Because if we can output the green circuits onto both sides of the belt simultaneously, then that would be 15 machines per side times 2 is 30 machines, which is only 10 fewer than we have now. And then we would have to round it down a bit to account for the red circuit's output. So, let's think. red circuits are 0.8 per second. So this is 2 stacks per second of green circuits. So it's 0.2 stacks per second of red circuits. So 5 of these would make up 1 stack. So if doing 15, that's 3 stacks per side. Alright, let's actually... Okay, let's go back to the drawing board. Back to the drawing board. And the drawing board is this random spot of ocean. Okay, so number of machines is gonna be smaller no matter what. But if we can get a full belt of green circuits in addition to the red circuits, then that would be pretty neat. So let's get this. This is just for spacing, obviously. And so this is the output of one machine, and that works completely correctly. Now we take this belt and what if we just split it? If we just split you like that, and we have a belt like that, and then you could go up onto a belt like that. None of this is going to be compact, but we might have to abandon compactness. It's going to be fewer machines, so maybe we can work something with that to account for that. So this is obviously not right. So this is obviously no good. Now, what I can actually do is... let's see here. What if we do something real cursed, like you output directly onto a green circuit belt, which then filters out onto a red circuit belt. Okay. So what if we just do something like this, right? So then you would be red circuits up there. So everything is on this belt temporarily, but then the red circuits immediately get bumped up to the next belt. And this would work and be nice and compact as long as there's enough room for the red circuits on this little chunk here. So if this belt here is fully saturated, then it won't work. But we should be able to fix that. So we're going to upgrade you, and I'm going to copy paste you. Let's grab the decider combinator settings to get into there. And then they read from the box, feed to the inserters, and you are going to reset filters. Okay, so we've got this, and this works almost. So we go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and then 15. So we've got a row of 15, but now we have the problem that... So these are going to feed... These are going to fill up the entire output side of the belt with green circuits. And there's not going to be room for the red circuits on this last one. So all the rest of these will have space, right, to filter the red circuits out up here. But when this one goes to put the red circuits on the belt, it's going to get stuck. So we actually need a bit of space. No, not like that. So if we just cut that out, move you like that, then we're gonna have to do some weird stuff to get this to work, but actually I think we need to move you even one further. So you go to there, then that extends out to there, and you loop up like this. So, okay, what'll this do? These output onto this side of the belt, and this side of the belt is going to be fully saturated with green circuits, minus the output of this. Then, this outputs its green and red circuits onto this side of the belt, which it has space to do because that's empty now. So then the red circuits get filtered up, and then the green circuits are now slightly off kilter, but we can obviously just fix that with a second one of these. And so we just do something like that, and now we have all the green circuits on the near side of the belt and all the red circuits on this secondary belt. Now, we yoink you, flip it vertically, and we've got this same thing here. So now everything is on the inside of the belts for both of these. So then we take these two up, and if they just merge, so you're going to be on the top, you're going to be on the bottom, so that merge just works. And then the red circuits just come up, and actually there's no reason for them to take up that much space even. So the red circuits can just immediately go up this way, cross over to there, twist around a little bit, and merge in. Alright, so then we have this, and this is obviously going to be all quality moduled, and I think this should work like exactly now, barring any weirdness that I'm not thinking of. And this shouldn't be much more space than the previous existing version. So if we copy you, bring you up to here, yeah, it's actually, so the output belts are going to take up a bit more space, but the whole thing is actually, oh wait, no, am I dumb? Did I forget to, of course I forgot to put the actual input belt in. That's obviously necessary. Okay, so we need to grab a bit more space in here. And it's hard to do the measurement, but I think something like that. And then you all get inputs. You all get your inputs as usual. And that runs along up through the top row. And that should be good. And now we just have to connect those back up. Okay, so I expect this to be like 2 tiles wider than the previous one. So we line up like this, and yeah, that's exactly right. So that's fine though. Entirely manageable. And we need to make all these legendary recyclers. I don't think I put that in. So let's see, make sure you're facing the right way. You are, and then your output goes into the box as we want it to. And then we get this one. Same way, just like that. Okay, is this everything? I think this should be... Oh, we should get power poles in, just so that that's not a concern. So that gets the center row all done. And then how do we actually get the outer rows? Oh, we had substations. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes more sense. Okay, let's run back down to here and just get those substations in. So we get there and there. And yeah, we do actually need the center rows in this setup because these are a little bit further away from the substations now. So they just barely don't fit unless we were to use higher quality ones. Okay, and then let's just get those connected across in that convenient gap we've built for ourselves. Okay, now we can copy this entire thing. And how do we get you in? So you are going to line up something like this. And let's actually do this with some of these guys up here first, just to make it easier to line up with fewer items on the belt. Still a whole lot, but a little bit less. Okay, so you... Oh wait, no. We actually need to redesign... We need to redesign the EM plant section as well, so we might as well just create the entire block, and then... Oh, we're gonna have to do the thing where we dismantle all of this again, aren't we? Okay, let's start preparing for that by directing the output into a box so that we don't, so that this can like actually properly drain a little bit. Hopefully the drones will show up with those in a bit. Alright, in come the drones. Looks like we're waiting on foundation carrying drones for a little bit. Oh, and we need power poles, because of course we do. We always need power poles. Okay, this is almost set up to work, and we haven't quite managed to get the whole thing jammed yet, so that's going now. And I guess we'll stack inserter these to make that load faster, because otherwise I think it's going to be an issue. So there we go. Now there's no blue circuits going into this system at all, so it can start to drain out, which will be very necessary when we have to dismantle this whole thing. So in the meantime, let's go back down here. And first step is we need to shift this slightly just over to the side. So we shift you over to the side just so that we don't have to deal with that spacing problem. And then we can clear out all of that stuff. And this poor lightning collector is... they're all going to get dismantled soon. Alright, so we get these transport belts. And the bottom row is the green circuit belt. So you need to do some twisting around just to increase the amount of buffer. And sure, something like that. And the red circuit belts, I guess we should give them a bit of a buffer, but they don't need anything nearly as crazy. So let's just have it set up like this. It's still a lot of belts, but it should be fine. So now we have to set up our EM plants to be fed with all the beacons that we need, but with 2 separate input belts. So we're going to start by copy pasting just you randomly and bring you in here. So you go in somewhere like that. Now if we just cut that out and move it back a level, then that is no good. That does not work because these beacons are now just barely too far away for the EM plants, which is a problem. And that's going to be the same case on either side. However we do it, it's not going to work. So we need to either accept fewer beacons per machine, on the understanding that we're going to need fewer machines anyways, because there's less stuff going into all this. Or we're going to need to get a bit more creative in terms of our spacing. So we've already got this chunk here which has a pipe in it. So what if we move you a bit over to the side and we fit in a couple of beacons in there, and then you still output successfully and this pipe still goes through successfully, but now we've got a whole bunch of beacons in here. So previously, how many beacons did these guys see up here? These guys see 8 beacons each in the middle, 6 on the edges. So if we go down into here, this guy is going to see 1, 2, 3, 4 beacons. And that's because we're not getting like all of these 4 in. Although we can get another beacon up there to increase it a little bit. So you're going to now see 5 beacons. And those guys all go away. Then that goes through. And then how about we get another 2 beacons in there. So now you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 beacons. So it's 1 fewer beacon per machine, but that's still probably fine. So we have 1 fewer beacon per machine. What is that gonna look like? Okay, this has successfully drained entirely, at least the first stage. The latter stages are still cycling, which is pretty neat, I guess. Okay, so these at 8 beacons are 32 green circuits per second. Chop one of those down. So you're at 7 beacons and you're 30 green circuits per second. So that's still a ton, right? So now that we know that there's going to be 60 times 4 beacons on the belt, right? So there's going to be 240 green circuits on the belt, which means we need 8 EM plants per row. I guess it'll be 10 because the edges won't be as good. Whereas currently we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So yeah, we can actually shave a couple of machines here. So it is a bit more spacious, but if we just get you in and right, so we need all of these sections to have their sort of that chunk in. So you go in like that, then you two go underground there. I didn't mean to cut that, I meant to paste it. So then, if we copy... No, wait, if we copy this chunk out to like here and paste it, then that tiles properly. And actually, 2, 4, 6, 8. So, as long as each of these are getting the correct number of beacons, then we can actually, yeah, so if we just do these guys, if these guys just get their beacons, which go in like that, this should be enough for the entire setup. Now, is that correct? We've got these guys going all the way forwards. So you're the one on the edge. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 beacons. Yes. All right. So this should be all we need. And then we just need you to go underground across that last segment. And I don't see what happened there, but you go underground across that last segment. Okay, so now we just have to put these in the opposite order somehow, because we want the green circuits to be close and the red circuits to be far. So how many items per second is this all going to handle? So you are doing 2.7. Wait, you're showing 7 beacons at... Oh, I see. This one was overestimating because it doesn't have the modules. Okay, so this is actually only 27 items. So we are going to need another batch of 2, which hopefully we can just paste in. Yeah, so we paste you in. And wait, is this dumb? Do these need to be extra long? If these are just like this, you still see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, okay, so I was just dumb there. So we have this set up instead, which is just more efficient apparently. And it uses a whole lot less beacons and a good chunk less space. So let's clear out most of that area, and then we can copy paste this, and okay, it's slightly off center there for some reason. I don't know what happened with that, but whatever. The rest of these should be fine. Actually, is that slight gap feeding us an additional machine? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, it's still 7 either way. Okay, so I don't know how. I don't know how you're not getting accounted for. 4, 5, 6, 7, and then that one's too far, whereas in this one there's 3 up here which count for this one. That one, that one, and that one. Whereas this one, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 up here that count for this one. Alright, no, I am apparently missing 1, because this only sees 6. This only sees 6 because these guys aren't spaced right. Okay. Very, very confusing stuff going on here. Let's dismantle all of that. And if we have just this setup, then is it good? So we just copy you. You get pasted along like that. And those need to go one further out. As do these, which we're going to have to then re-copy them. As do these ones. I have to rebuild. So now we have this. And just count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then these ones are all too far. Yes. So this is how it goes. And I don't know what those are overwriting there, but we get all these guys in. So that is 2, 4, 6, 8. And then we need to get those guys out. And then we have 10 of these guys. And that should do enough. So that should do more than enough, really. And then we need to change these to grab from the far belts as well. So we need something like 27 from the near belts, which honestly one stack inserter ought to be able to do. And then we get all of these guys in to grab the red circuits from the far belt. And they can still transport 4 items per second, which is still enough. So that should be okay. Then we just need this belt to sneak its way up across there so that this is all lined up right. And our red circuits snake down to there. And our green circuits snake down to there. And I think those wound up being the wrong tier belts. So let's just mass upgrade this entire thing, just in case I missed any somewhere else. Okay. So this is all set up, and I guess we can compress you a little bit out to like there-ish. So we have something like that. And 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, we still got all of those. Now let's get rid of all that random junk over there. And this should be one proper row. So now we need what? We needed 4 of these, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. We need 4 rows, each with their own individual machines with different settings. So, you're all moduled, you're all powered, you are all powered, just don't want to be missing anything. Okay, so the one thing which I can do is get the loop back in. So, this actually... Hey, let me think. So this is blue circuits. It needs to loop back this way. And then it's going to need a splitter, which is going to filter out... Tier 1 blue circuits go this way, and we'll loop up into there, and then the other tiered blue circuits will go off this way, and we'll be going up to the next row. So that should be what we're doing here. So now we copy paste you, and let's see here. Let's get a little bit of space in here. So we get a second one, and a third one, and then we're sort of running out of space up there in this ocean. So let's go down to here, and then we get in the last one, and we need to get it in such a way that it doesn't place that lightning collector that we accidentally copy pasted. So let's try to grab this again, but without that lightning collector. And you go in like that. Okay, so we have this set up. I forgot to get speed modules in this row of beacons because I added them in last. There you go, nice easy fix. And now we need to get all of these guys functional. So this first one, this bottom one is set up correctly. It's just normals. And the normals go back into here while the non-normals go up this way. Then we need... Actually, this split should happen back here, just so that it doesn't have to run as long and the split will be happening in a nice convenient spot. So we take that row out, and we take this row out, and that'll also shave us on one vertical width, which is nice. So then instead, you split up like right here, output priority right, filter normal, and then left goes up. And then you just go right into here, output priority right, filter uncommon, and then the left goes up. And then we have the same thing for all of these. There was supposed to be a substation there. I don't think that substation was actually useful, but regardless. So then you get a splitter. Let's just make these standardized, I guess, just so that it looks good. You are output filter right, and you go there. Then that one goes up. This one is output filter right for rares. And then we take this one out and get the epics filtered in. And we need to make sure that these belts all continue across, because that's an important thing to remember. So then the rares go that way. Epics come up here, where they get filtered. So it's right, epics, and then this belt would be any legendary quality blue circuits, but we shouldn't have those. So I guess that just isn't necessary, so we can just chop that out there and be fine with it. So then that is that. And what we need now is... Oh shoot, we need a filter on the outputs of these. Okay, right, so this is actually entirely wrong, because this belt is never going to have any higher quality outputs on it. So that was all a waste of time. Cool. I always get a little bit confused. So the actual filtering has to come in these belts past these splitters, right? So let's think. We can remove all of this. Glad that it removed like half of them instead of all of them. So we remove all of those, and we can just trust that this will be the right speeds, because there's the right qualities, because there's nothing productivity to get past them at that point. Okay. So we need to grab the legendaries off of this belt somewhere up here. So we've got this belt and this belt. So let's remove some of that sort of waffling about in there, and just have it be a more direct route for now. So you both filter here, for normal quality. And the normal quality filters then output this way and this way. And the top one here, so this belt here is the red circuits. So you are going to just go out like that, and then into that belt to go all the way around, which I think shouldn't be a huge issue. And then that actually, we can use this stretch as an opportunity for you to go underground a little bit, and you can go underground a little bit at the same time. So now these belts, which contain the other quality levels, can just go up like so. And then this just loops around a little bit because we do still want that to prevent any issues. The red circuit belt should be just long enough that we don't have those problems anyways. And I think we're outputting... I think we're using both sides of the red circuit belt, so that should also help. Okay, so we've got all this. Now we just need to figure out how we get the previous stuff into this without breaking anything. Because we have to keep in mind that the green circuits might be overfilled at any given point. So... okay, wait, I have an idea, actually. Let's take this out and take that out. So all of this sort of just hopping back and forth. Just remove all of that, and we just have the space. Sorry about sneeze real quick. Okay, so we have a red circuit belt on the left and a green circuit belt on the right. Now, we need to actually shift this whole thing over a little bit, but not all the way. So, we need to take advantage of this in here and put the input belts up onto these. So the output here was red circuits on the left, green circuits on the right. So we have... oh right, this is the loop in for that row. Oh, this is getting complicated. Okay. We can have that happen a bit sooner because we need this to be a different thing entirely. So we have a belt on the left coming up, and then you cross up this way, and then you go around and in like that. Oh, that's weirdly similar to what this is, actually. Hey, wait, am I dumb? Can we just... because these are... wait, no. So the thing is that these belts might be full, or at least the green circuit belt might be completely capped out. So we can do that for the red circuits. So if we yoink that, then that can be our red circuit supply getting added in, and it's going to be split in, so it won't have to worry about being on one side or the other. And the green circuit belt then just has to go up like this. And let's see. Let's try to have these line up properly so that it can just tile naturally. So we've got this. And then we have an underground belt there and an underground belt there. And then this goes up like that. And that should tile naturally, I believe. So then we can just take some of this extra space for the green circuits to wobble around a little bit and then go in, and then the red circuits just come straight down and go in. Okay, so step 1, make sure that that whole area is upgraded. Step 2 is to get this into all of these, so we are going to, I guess the easiest way would be, we have reference frames of the beacons and the machines on either side, right? So we delete all of that, then we, actually no, I don't like that at all. I think we want to keep the machines up for the bits that we're deleting and have them layer over with the stuff that we're copying. So we clear that out. Then we copy, select this, get you all in like that. And then we have these belts just need to make that one little connection like so. And then this would be our output. So now we just need to set all these to different rarity filters. So you are uncommon, you are rare, and you are epic. Okay, so that ought to do the trick. And then the outputs will cycle back in to try again. So the only thing we need, I believe, is we need to set these machines, which should be easy. So these just need to be set up to the correct quality. And then these guys get set to rare. And these guys get set to epic. Okay. Okay, this should work, I think. If this doesn't work, I'm going to be kind of mildly annoyed, I guess. But, oh, shoot. The one thing we need is... Okay, it's an easy fix, because we have space for it. We just need to get all this stuff in for the sulfuric acid pipes. So that connects along the front row of all of this stuff. And we're just going to get the underground belts in first. And then we connect up all the regular pipes, and that somehow disconnected you. So that just goes down and connects all those up so that they can get their sulfuric acid source. And then we just get those last little chunks in there. Okay, is everything connected up? I really, really hope so. And there should be fewer machines overall, of all types. Although not that many fewer, honestly. There's like 10 fewer recyclers and like 2 fewer EM plants. Still, it's progress. So, there might be more beacons. There probably are more beacons, because this is, I think, a less efficient setup for them. Because we need to have more beacons per machine. Alright, is this all good? Is there anything I'm missing? We've got the sulfuric acid, we've got the green and red circuits. I don't know. Hopefully it works. So step 1 is we copy that. Step 2 is this seems to have drained properly. That's good. So step 2 is we unfortunately need to dismantle this entire island. And okay, we can try to avoid most of the sulfuric acid production. And actually, can I create a... How do you do this? There's some way of creating like a custom deconstruction planner, right? Yes, okay, so you put it in there. Then we are going to blacklist drone ports and power poles, I think. Blacklist drone ports and power poles and substations. And is there anything else that we don't want to dismantle? Just checking through here. No, that should be fine. Okay, so now we grab... Oh, wait, I have to like add that to my blueprint book, right? So you go in there, and now, when I'm out of Fulgora, I pull this deconstruction planner, and I... Oh wait, no, there's one more thing. There's one more thing which I need to edit this for. Right-click to open, so you also need the lightning collectors to be blacklisted. Then you go into the blueprint book, you go back to Fulgora, I grab that custom deconstruction planner, and we go to town on all of this stuff, and that ought to be good enough. We're going to have to do a little bit of work to reconstruct the sulfuric acid stuff, but it is what it is. And we should have, most of this should have drained, so it should be a lot faster than previous times I've deconstructed massive projects, which is a bit of a silver lining. There's still a couple boxes in here, but nowhere near the number that there were for the previous setup. There should just be like 4 or 5 of them. And yep, the construction drones sure are busy. And Spidertron is picking stuff up. And we're gonna need some logistics storage chests in this area, just so that it can work relatively quickly and not have to carry them across the planet in order to dismantle stuff. So hopefully those storage chests get placed, and then we can start using them instead of the super distant setups. We've managed to not destroy the roboports in the area, so that should be all good. And it's just going strong now. So Spidertron is filled, of course. These storage chests aren't getting anywhere. It says 1.3k are missing construction bots. We have 2,000 construction bots, so that's something at least. And so that should be going down. Okay, so this seems to be the area where we're mostly losing drones. So let's get drone coverage in there. And then we're also losing them sort of across this eastern pass where we have nothing. Yeah, okay, it looks like there's a dead zone in there where those lightning collectors haven't been built yet. And other than that, it's mostly just the drones going out of places they shouldn't. Alright, so that's all going. Hey, we have technically a couple free inventory spaces now. And the number of drones, the number of entities missing construction drones is dropping relatively quickly. So it's never an easy process, but it certainly could be a lot worse. I really wish they just weren't taking this path. It's a terrible path to take. There's not even like drone ports or anything over there. It's just pure pain. So where are they even going? Just through that massive line of storage chests? Yeah, that makes sense. And a whole lot of the logistics drones are coming over here to just pick stuff up out of the Spidertron and bring them seemingly down that way anyways, so let's just have the Spidertron physically move there so that they don't have to do that. We're down to 300 items, and that number seems to have dropped very quickly all of a sudden in one giant burst. Don't know what that's about, but not gonna complain, as it seems like it's going pretty fast. Alright, so Spidertron is now here, and it should be just sort of direct from here to there to unload it. Be a lot easier if I were there in person. I could just click on inventory slots, but such is life. I am still up on Aquilo, where, I mean, I'm not even doing anything there, but that's where I am, so I guess it's safer there, because you can't get randomly struck by lightning somehow, technically. So hopefully we don't lose any modules. If we lose our legendary modules to drones getting zapped, I'm going to be real sad. And yeah, we really need to get drone coverage over this area. Or lightning coverage, rather. So the Spidertron is almost at the point where it can safely move. Yeah, let's just have the Spidertron sally forth to get some of these guys built. And then you run up here. And we're just building some lightning rods. So this is never going to be perfect, but we can expand the zone out a little bit so that it's slightly less terrible for our poor drones. So that goes out, then we get a couple up there, and we keep on running. And This island has some of its own coverage, which is a nice little bonus. Okay, so that should be mostly there. And it looks like apparently everything's had its assigned construction drones, and the Spidertron is picking up all of that stuff. Okay, so in terms of power coverage, we're pretty solid in terms of where the drones are going. So that should be fine. Let's get the Spidertron even closer to that box so that this can happen even faster. And it's gonna fill up, but there we go. Now we run down to here and then let the Spidertron do the unloading. And then immediately once this is all dismantled, we're gonna go back and rebuild very, very similarly, but just slightly different proportions, so you can't keep any of the belts or anything because they could cause problems. Okay, so most of this is going. The logistics bots are all very busy. And probably most of them are busy dealing with the Spidertron. The construction bots are all busy. And we're still... Oh, we still need to get this area right. Let's get the Spidertron out there to fix that gap real quick. Do you not have lightning collectors? You do. Do you not have drones? That is not getting placed properly. You have 7 lightning collectors, right? Yes. So maybe this one will cooperate? No, it's just... It's probably not got power capacity. Like, it's probably out of juice in its batteries. So if we check here, yeah, personal roboports are all super unhappy right now. Understandably so. So this is still coming apart bit by bit. It's not saying there's anything missing construction drones, so theoretically it should all be getting taken away. And we see that these boxes are starting to get unloaded. And we're really going to have to find something to do with all of those random green circuits of various qualities. I have no idea what that'll be. Okay, we're also sort of working to keep up with the blue circuit supply. It's not completely, perfectly filled up at all times, which is, I guess, to be expected. We are using a lot of them. Where'd the Spidertron go? It's right in here. And it's slowly getting itself drained. And they're all going down this way somewhere. Okay, so if those are all going down here, the Spidertron should stand down there so that it doesn't have to take as long of a trip. So down you go. And there we go. Now this is going to go super fast. That was all the Spidertron's power to do that massive burst. And now we should see just random extra drones coming by to get some more stuff placed. And we are still occasionally missing things. Spidertron has some juice in the roboports. And the deconstruction process is mostly just these boxes left. which is basically what we expected it to be. So that's all good. And we're just still losing the occasional drone, but that surely won't be a huge issue. It's a good thing I moved the cargo landing pad over here. Can you imagine how much of a nightmare it would be if we hadn't done that? Okay, also, I think I want you... I think I want you to store 100 fusion power cells instead of 50. Seems like it's been getting a little bit sketchy in terms of, like, when I've randomly checked, we've been at 50% of our fusion power cells, which is pretty bad. Okay, so Spidertron is back up to at least some charge. Okay, how hard was it to make portable fusion reactors? We need fusion power cells, fission reactors, and then a bunch of stuff that's already here. Okay, so let's get those set up. So Aquilo support... No, it's Aquilo support 2 is the one which actually makes the trip. So you need to pick up, like, a couple portable fission reactors, and then Novice has production of those, right? So where... It's probably in here somewhere? Yes, we have a stack of 20 of them. Okay, so we're going to be bringing the portable fission reactors over here, and then these are just made in assembly machines. So let's get an assembly machine down and just pop you there. Fusion reactor. Requester chest. Inserter. And then you are going to be read ingredients, set requests, and then you output to a passive provider chest. And Aquilo is somehow missing concrete. Is that all gone into the rocket silo? Of course it has. Why would concrete ever get delivered anywhere other than the rocket silo? Alright, so we're going to dismantle that. So we're going to set that off and then get all this stuff built in. And then how on earth are you missing a passive provider chest? Can you request those, first of all? Just like 5 of them at a time, maybe? And then hopefully one of these guys carries them. Actually, do you happen to be useful for once? No? Are you carrying them? No, I guess you can pick those up since you have plenty of space otherwise. Alright, so then we just need to get you to request the fission reactors. And we're going to need very few of these, so let's just set a low request. Oh, and we need a power pole up there. So this has... It doesn't have supercapacitors either. So you need to request those when you stop by. And we aren't going to need many of them either, probably, unless we do. Actually, how many do you need? Only 25. Yeah, so that should be fine. So we have enough fusion power cells, we have enough carbon fiber, getting the tungsten plates and everything in as well. And so yeah, quantum processors, we've got enough of those in. Now we're loading up the carbon fiber as well. And then it'll just be the fission reactors and the supercapacitors, which should come around eventually. And this is not going to be extraordinarily helpful for this particular row, but it will eventually become useful. Let's clear the inventory a little bit of just some of that stuff. And is there any other like random oddball? Yeah, we don't need lightning rods, for example, or stone bricks. So we can just toss those off. The rest of these could conceivably be used in crafting at some point. So we can just leave them, and then surely by this point you are... Okay, you're like 90% done. Yeah, and then it's just like this box, a little bit left of that box, and I think that's it. So, Spidertron's got plenty of inventory space, so you can run up to help that. And then while we're at it, we need to get the sulfuric acid production back in, because that was just sort of caught too close to our dismantle order. So we get that in, and then the Spidertron is here. It's not helping dismantle any of these items, which I guess means that all the drones for it have been dispatched already. Maybe. And in that case, we're almost going to be able to copy paste this in. Let's just let this cook for a little bit longer. And there it all goes. Okay. It should be basically fine now. Can't imagine there being, like, massive, crazy problems because of this. But the construction drone availability is starting to tick up as these guys get finished off. So that's all good. And yeah, let's get this pasted in. So we have copy, and we can actually cut, right? Yeah, we can cut and paste this. So you get cut, and then you get pasted, and yeah, this is a fair chunk larger. We're going to try to sort of overlay it with the previously placed foundations as much as possible, but there's only so much that can be done for that. So you are just gonna have to... Actually, wait, no, I need to zoom out. Okay, I think we actually do need to be careful not to overwrite the sulfuric acid, which is not sort of in my view when I'm placing it in this zone. So let's zoom back and place it like that. And then those all come out. And now the drones get to start doing drone stuff again. And that should hopefully not take too long. Hopefully. Okay, so it's saying a bunch of items are missing. I don't believe it, at least for anything but the modules. I think we should have enough of most of these things. It's just a matter of whether the drones know where they are, I think. Because, yeah, I think when we did that, we did disconnect the drone network a little bit, so let's get some extra power poles up. And Spidertron can run down to hopefully get those placed. Okay, so that Roboport is in, and the Spidertron is doing some work right now, getting stuff built up. Okay, so we are going to need to work out reconnecting power lines together. So that power pole there should get most of this connected. And then we probably need... And the thing is, like, half of these power lines are also in the process of being dismantled, so it's kind of tough to say for certain, but we do something like that. And the drone port, fortunately, it's a lot easier to build than deconstruct in massive scales like this when there aren't... Because there aren't huge amounts of, like, thousands of green circuits in a chest that you have to tear apart before you can do the construction. It's all just empty. And these guys are almost done. So this Roboport is low power and it's about to die because the grid isn't connected properly. And let's just make sure that as much of this stuff is interconnected as possible. And we're still losing drones in that little area down there. Let's get the Spidertron running down that way. I think it's low on something or other to be working itself. So hopefully you have the power grid. Yes, there we go. That is another convenient little gap solved. And now we wait for the drones to get all this nonsense built. And then we're going to have to worry about where the input belts go, which should not be terribly difficult, unless things go real weird. I just want this to all be built up and powered and everything before I actually hook a supply into it. This poor Roboport, which is not officially connected, and yet has 10,000 drones charging at it for some reason. Just based off of, like, these couple of lightning collectors, I guess. And its own internal battery. And that's about to die. So we've got a whole bunch of drones running down there. And yeah, so that whole thing is dead now, and once this singular electrical pole goes in, then it can all get connected back up. So there is apparently a drone working on that electrical pole. It is not the Spidertron, though, apparently. Actually, the Spidertron has plenty of power, and it's got, like, a couple of things that it can build. So I guess you can run around and do what you can. Just might as well. And let's get that dismantled and rebuilt, but with the Spidertron. So now that's charged up, and this whole area can be good to go again. So that is getting built, and they're starting to discover that they actually have materials to construct with. Is this all connected up now? Yeah, I think the entire thing is now connected. There's a tiny lightning collector gap up there for a couple of power poles. Let's get that fixed. And we are still a little bit of recycling machines short. And we're also... apparently, long-handled inserters are a problem now, somehow. How is that at all possible? Are you... I guess you don't request them, so that's how that's possible. So you ask for 100 of those. And Fulgora support, do you support that? No. Just transport platform? No. Okay. Fulgora support, congratulations, you get another thing to ask for. Long-handled inserters. Apparently we got some. Not sure what machine those came from, but just some random passing Roboport happened to have some, I guess. And we also need, apparently, turbo underground belts, which shouldn't be an issue, but apparently are an issue. So you are requesting them, so that should just be another trip, unless Novice is also facing a turbo underground belt shortage, which we can confirm real quick. No, you aren't requesting them, and you do have them, so that will be resolved. And then we just have all the modules and all the recyclers, which we have slightly less demand for now, but still really quite a lot of demand for. And there's still 10,000 drones charging at like 5 roboports. And the amount of recyclers that we need keeps going down, but the amount of modules that we need keeps going up. So Fulgora support, you're over Novice, you are picking up inserters, steel plates, various belts and such. Don't have many quality modules to pick up, which is going to be an issue. It's going to be an issue, but hopefully we can get there. We don't even have all the belts in, so like I can't turn this on until all of these drones finish charging or whatever it is that they're doing. Okay, where are we losing drones now? All the way over here. World's tiniest gap, okay. And so that can just go up there. And then that whole area should be covered. So that's fixed. And yeah, because of the optimizations, we are doing a whole lot better in terms of the number of recyclers that we need. We're only 15 short. And we're doing a little bit better in productivity modules and quality modules as well. So all of the belts exist. Not all the underground belts exist, but all the belts should theoretically be on their way. And it's kind of insane how long it takes them to get here. But yeah, most of the drones are now idle again. So that's all good. And now this is just sort of slowly doing its thing. So we need to get the ice up to here in order for this to all work. And then we need to... Actually, because of the way the sulfuric acid is connected, this pipe here doesn't need to go that far at all. You just go like that, and then you're in. And you apparently need a iron plate input, which I always forget that this is how we're doing this. So you just get a couple of iron plates delivered, and then that is that, and then we get this belt comes up this way, just sort of smack through the center, and then up to there to provide our ice cubes. And then we are going to need a smart splitter, or a turbo splitter. So turbo splitter goes in here, will be input priority right. And then let's just get absolutely everything in except the last connection. We're still somehow 3 underground belts short. I'm not sure where the other 4 came from. Okay, so the ice cubes are making their way across. Hasn't quite been finished yet, but should be there soon. So that all goes in. And just confirm again, you are requesting underground belts. You are. And that should be all set. Okay, so the ice cubes have made it across, and the sulfuric acid is doing its thing. You probably need to be productivity moduled because your food ingredients short half the time. So hopefully that covers it, and we also won't need that much in terms of supply of the sulfuric acid, so hopefully it just works out. Alright, so the iron plates are all set up, and we're still missing 3 underground belts. Where are they? I guess we can technically salvage some from this side. So these are all just sort of kind of decorative underground belts. So we can just remove all of those, and then that should have enough underground belts here. Also, Fulgora supports arrived and should be delivering those, which hopefully it did. I didn't see them, but they've got to be, right? Let's check. You are requesting 95 turbo underground belts. Despite the fact that that only has 50? What happened there? Why are you requesting 95 of something when this is set to 50? Huh? Is there... Oh wait, is there like a negative in here or something? How did that happen? Red is 50. Green here is 35. 50 minus 35 should be like 15. Alright, now it's showing 15. I don't know how it was possibly showing that 95. But we're just going to ignore that. And I believe this is all constructed. And the sulfuric acid is just sort of booting up now. And you are short of water continually. So that's fine. These guys are all doing their thing, and there's sort of nothing to worry about with them. And the sulfuric acid previously was more than enough. Hopefully now will still be more than enough. Let's just get a couple more speed in there just to be sure, because it won't hurt at the very least. We've got plenty of ice. So that is now stockpiling sulfuric acid. And there's somehow even more ice cubes coming in from the other side of the train. Sure. Okay. Moment of truth, I guess. So the first row is fully complete, save for some productivity modules. The second row, almost fully complete. Third row and up, we don't really have quality modules in there, so it's not gonna be tremendously effective at actually producing things, but it should at the very least give us enough to know if the theory is working, right? And it'll still give us some, assuming this down here is running, which is apparently a bad assumption. See this right here, this is why I'm building the new version, because the old version keeps getting freaking stuck. So we fill all that stuff out, and this is still not connected to fresh input, by the way. It hasn't been for like 1,000 years. Okay, now you should be fine, probably. And you're just limited by the belt speed on these guys, so there's not much to be done about that. Hopefully now that that's functional again, we can get more modules coming through and just get that whole loop going. And then in the meantime, let's copy this whole thing. Okay, so it's not a perfect copy, but it should be mostly good. So we copy all of that, and we're going to paste it in, and something like that. Oh, what are we doing? Oh, I see. That was a previously existing thing up there. Alright, so that's not a concern. So, why are you saying we need 343 foundation? Are we really low on foundation, or are you just confused? You are requesting 500 foundation. Alright, so we're actually low on foundation. That's fun. What happened with that? Also, did this ever finish? Hasn't gotten that delivery yet. Alright, so our foundation supply here is low on carbon fiber, which we know is getting delivered. Okay, so that's annoying. Seems like we have just barely enough to almost get us done. So let's start reclaiming some foundation. We can sort of yoink some around the edges here. And we don't really want to dismantle anything other than foundation. So we gotta be a little bit careful. That belt is not necessary, so that belt can go. And we'd have to just sort of scavenge what foundation we can. Let's pick it up where we can grab it. There's this big chunk up here, which I don't understand. I guess there's just a random little puddle there. Then there's this whole chunk, which we can certainly remove. And then this has all sorts of weird inefficiencies. So those power lines can also go, and that whole area can get picked up. And, alright, that helps us a little bit on the foundation front, but it doesn't get us enough. Especially since we still need to place some more. Okay, now what is going on with all these stupid substations? I have no idea how they all got built the way that they did. So, are one of you carrying foundations? Who would be doing that, if anyone? Aquila Support 2 has like 100 foundations on the way, so that's something. Let's better than nothing at least. And it should theoretically be enough, actually. Assuming that we don't need any of these guys to be connected, which we certainly do. So those get powered up like that. And that, then, that connection can go away. Okay, so that should be everything. Now over here, we have the green circuits are overfilled. And why on earth? Is it still because not enough red circuits? Is that just like perpetually the problem? Our loop here is pretty small, all things considered. Yeah, so the loop isn't very big, which might be causing the problem. So this top row is entirely deadlocked. The bottom row is running quite smoothly. And yes, we're not getting enough red circuits through, which is kind of annoying. Kind of annoying, I mean extremely annoying. It like completely breaks the entire thing. Okay, so we do have space available in here to actually do something a bit cheeky. So if we just improvise with this, the Spidertron is already right here. Alright, so we're going to dismantle all of that. And what we can do is we have a bunch of boxes in here, and they are all going to be filled up and then brought across, and then this should be like the Omega version of the snake buffer system that we've been designing here. Once we get all those steel chests in, then hopefully it'll be good to go. Alright, so did those foundations ever show up? Is that them now? Okay, they did eventually show up. Not seeing... Okay, yeah. And they're registered in the thing as being here. Okay, so now this is doing its thing, and it's only outputting the green circuits onto one side of the belt, so we need to fix that. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I did 9 of them here. I guess we need to do 10, probably. And then we need that belt to go away, and we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you come down like that and in. And then that power pole gets rebuilt. Okay, so this provides a massive buffer for the green circuits. Now, if we copy this whole region and paste the new variant in, then that should also work for you, assuming it works at all, of course, which is kind of a big assumption, but it's fine. So this will also divide the inputs so that it's taking from both sides evenly. Like, this entire belt of input. Actually, why are you What's going on with that? You are a full belt there. Oh, it's just because you're waiting on all of these guys, I assume. And are you set up wrong? Yes, you are. Okay, so this needs to be set to uncommons there. And then this whole belt managed to sneak through because of that error. So you can just go away into a random box to pick you up. And hopefully that will solve it. So that is... Come on, hurry up. Don't have all day here. I mean, kind of do have all day, but it's fine. I'm impatient. Do you carry boxes? No, you do carry stack inserters, though, so we can get that in. And so you will be draining the random uncommons off of that belt, which should allow them to run through properly for now. Once it's all the way cleared up, which will take a little bit. So that goes through. And okay, now that's all fine, and we just need to do the same thing for all the rest of them. So we copy paste this whole region, and we pop you in, and then you become rares. And now this whole area gets built, and we just have to wait for the boxes to show up. Then we paste the whole thing up here and go into that, and then these guys are epics instead of uncommons. And does this need to be a... I think that needs to be a regular bulk inserter, just so that it doesn't get stuck on this sort of situation. Okay, so there we go. So all of the missorted stuff is now gone. And the rares and the uncommons are going. So the commons are all filled up and output full, which should be resolved now that this is all going to be running at full speed. So that should be fine. And let's also just do the classic tradition of just disconnecting the input, because this should run for like 1,000,000 years just on this loop. And there's no reason to break it further by adding more things in. So the rares are doing their thing, and then obviously because like none of these have modules, we have to get insanely lucky for any of them to work properly. Okay, so now we just need... Okay, so we need to get off like a couple of the red circuits that made it up here mistakenly. And then we take these guys up. And actually, wait. Is this right? The left one... Alright, we've gotten these mixed up with how our copy-paste was set up. And we also need another power pole so that those are all connected. Okay, so we cut those back. You need to loop around that way. And At this point, they can be blue belts. So you then go up into the proper position. And then you all connect in. And that is theoretically 100% functional. And all of this is working. The green circuits aren't building up to a meaningful extent. That's hard to say. They might be. It's definitely... We're definitely running this whole row. And off of just the recycled bits... Okay, do we need to... Are you output full? Yes, we actually need to get the recycled bits to go on both sides. So we have 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So we have 10 belts, or 10 machines, which means that the correct point to rotate them is here. And okay, no, we don't want to copy paste all of that. We want to copy paste just like this chunk. And that should make sure that the outputs get done correctly. Oh, and then you need to actually wrap down to go in. And then I don't know why I keep using blue belts for all of this stuff, because it's the one that's on my hotbar, which I should probably change at some point, but oh well. So that all gets done, and surely this massive buffer here will prevent us from having to do weird stuff like getting rid of extra green circuits, right? It should be fine, and then the red circuits seem to be building up a tiny little bit, and hopefully that's not because... So it should never be because this isn't fast enough, right? Like, if this weren't fast enough, it would just overfill or put more on the other side. Now, it is kind of suspicious that this isn't all outputting at a full belt speed, because it should be, like, exact, right? So I don't know why it isn't. This is definitely going in at full belt speed. This first box is filling up. I guess that's it. So these boxes need to hit an equilibrium before it'll output at full speed. But that's fine. It's hardly an issue at all, really. And now these guys can all work fully, except these guys down here aren't getting green circuits, which is fine. And that is, I believe, completely functional, except for the lack of modules up here, which is mostly just destroying the blue circuits which go in. But like we can see here, that's a lot of rare blues going in. And if those were getting converted into epics at a reasonable rate rather than just destroyed, like, this would absolutely farm if it were functional. Alright, so now we just need... We need to get these guys up here. So these are the rocket launch pads for this, and they just need to have everything to launch rockets, obviously. They've got a couple of speed beacons, which should be plenty, and decent chance we're going to have to expand out this, which is just a green circuit destroyer, basically. But we'll have to see once we get actual quality modules in the higher tiers, because currently it's not really doing all that much. Alright, so this is all going. Fulgora support is here. It's picked up 600 some advanced circuits, and it's bringing them back to Novice, which hopefully red circuits are still the limiting factor. Holmium plates might be a little bit sketch, but should be fine. Fulgora support has another 100 some of those. And honestly, if Holmium plates ever run out, that means we're going to have just so many modules that, like, it's kind of just fine. Now, are we, like, overdoing it on this side? We've got another 2 there. We've made 756 of those, and almost 2,000 of these. We're going to be hitting 2,100 by the time we're finished. Our legendary recyclers are almost done. And we can deconstruct all of this foundation. That can go away. That was definitely causing a lot of drone-related lag, so we can very happily get rid of that. And now this just goes. And currently it only does stuff when we just get insanely lucky on commons or uncommons. We need, like, these first couple to get the quality modules. Unfortunately, with our luck, they've sort of been running back here, although this one got some, which is cool. So it is technically possible, even if incredibly unlikely, that this produces some valuable stuff. And all of this for almost no input, by the way. So these guys here, are you overfilling? You are overfilling. However, that's probably just a symptom of the previous issues we were having. And this road down here, which... yeah, because this road down here, which used to be in higher demand, is not overfilling at all. So as this trickles through, it should eventually stabilize out. And we do want to make sure that none of these guys are overfilling if possible, because that is where you can get real weird stuff with the ratios, where the inserter just decides not to output any red circuits for a long time, and then the whole thing explodes. Speaking of red circuits, those are sort of starting to move back a little bit on the belt. And again, just like I was talking about with the weird ratios, there's probably a couple hundred more red circuits in here than there ought to be. Who knows? And it's also probably the cost of filling up this box. So we've got like 1.5 boxes filled here, and this box is possibly slowly filling over time. And because of that, there's not as much green circuits going through here as there are going up here. Like you can see, this row is... actually, this is the better... so this is how much green circuits we have inputting. This is how much green circuits we have outputting. You can see there's clearly more here than there are here. So that is going to take some time to even out, which is unfortunate, but it's just sort of how this has been designed, so it shouldn't be a huge deal. We might see similar things with these ones, although we might also see just lower numbers in general, so it might not happen as much, but like this box is also filling, for example. So that's all happening. Fulgora support is over Novice right now, and it's delivered its modules. There's only 9 available on the planet, and it's received some delivery just now. So there's only 9 quality modules available on Novice right now, but those are starting to get produced again. So that is doing its thing, and there's nothing we can do to make any of this more efficient. I guess we can make the blue circuits like a couple % more efficient. Like by switching these up to legendary productivity modules, but that would just sort of cause its own problems. So we're making plenty of productivity modules to the point where we might actually stop producing them soon-ish, or at least slow it down so that we can focus on sending the red circuits to quality again. Okay, it looks like this might have actually received a launch. Yeah, there's 11 quality modules on the way, which is almost three recyclers. So hopefully it goes up to these ones. Speaking of 3 recyclers, we're missing 4. And what are we missing from them? Is there anything we can do to improve that? You are missing steel plates. That's entirely unsurprising and basically unavoidable. We've got plenty of everything else in storage. I guess the concrete's a little bit sketchy, but yeah, so we just need more of this stuff to come through. And because of the changes we've made, I don't think we're sending many green circuits over here anymore. Okay, so this is jammed again, because of course it has. Now it's this one, and so you need to move some of your red circuits out into here. And then we clear you up. And now you're just looping around again, doing your thing as usual. And we have like all of these boxes in here where we could like send some more green circuits, uncommon green circuits in from that area. Seems like a bit silly to do when we're sort of this desperate anyways, but you never know. Okay, let's... This system is very, very easily stuck, which is quite the nuisance. So hopefully that's like the main improvement that we're hoping to get out of this by getting the numbers right and by having these buffers in here, is we're hoping that these systems won't ever get completely jammed like that one down there does constantly. And is there anything we can do to just make this a little bit better in the meantime? Because this is still our main source of legendary red circuits while that's running. And it's doing a pretty good job of it as well. But it's doing a good job of it when it's not completely broken, which is kind of a big asterisk to have for being able to pay attention to something else every so often. Okay, this is now filling up on red circuits. Okay, so let's get this. Is this going to work at all? Maybe? Alright, so we have this. You go into here. You're gonna have to kill a beacon, but that's fine. And so then we get you. And we're gonna just do some cursed filtering here. So the green circuits go on that side. The red circuits. Okay, we don't have enough space for this, but that's fine. The red circuits get to go like up here. No, okay, this is this is just a catastrophically bad idea anyways. So we are just going to have you filter out green circuits temporarily. I'm just going to get some of those running through. And there we go. So that should use up the red circuits and get this whole thing flowing again in a somewhat more useful way than just throwing things into storage continually forever. And speaking of which, actually, we can probably get a good solid temporary boost just by like requester chesting things in to this belt here. It's worth a shot at least, right? Okay, so this is going, and we are going to upgrade you to a stack inserter so that you're less painfully slow. Okay, so what I was thinking is, right, we go over here. We need to, like, we need to get some requester chests onto this belt anywhere in here, basically. So, okay, so this one, so if we put a requester chest here and feed it down to there, then that goes on this side of the belt. So then we want, I guess we have to remove another one of you. We get a requester chest here and goes over to that, the opposite side for the green circuits. So now you are green circuits on this side, and your epic green circuits. And you are epic red circuits. So let's see how that works. If things go like I expect them to, this should be a pretty big boost in production. Okay, so now let's just cut that off since it seems like this is kind of working anyways. Actually, no, it's definitely not. Never mind. There's still just so many red circuits on this that we just need that to be constantly flowing in. And these requester chests are not showing up quickly. I wonder where they're being brought in from, because it's clearly not close. So this is still working to drain out all of that stuff. The sulfuric acid, by the way, is that functional? No, we don't have any iron plates in storage. How do we not have any iron plates in storage? Okay, let's... Okay, so that means that this entire thing is just completely bricked then, like, it's actually just doing nothing. Okay. But it is true that we have a bunch of stuff in there. So we need to get iron plates into storage ASAP. So if we grab a recycler off of this, actually let's grab a, you know, we can actually just use this belt that we already built here. So we get that belt in, then we get a couple of recyclers, which go in like that and get powered. Then their output just goes across that way and will filter out iron plates Apparently we need them constantly. And those will go here and get loaded up. Then the rest will go into another line of recyclers, which will be feeding into themselves for destruction purposes. I guess just like that should be fine. And then speed module all these guys just in case that is useful. And it takes absolutely forever for the recyclers to get brought across because they're coming from like all the way over there. So let's actually get a buffer chest in here. I'm pretty sure we have buffer chests on this planet at this point, right? Yes, we do. So you can buffer chest to hold recyclers and also legendary recyclers. And what else is crafted over on that side of things that we might want? Like lightning collectors and EM plants. And what else? It's mostly just stuff crafted on site that we need to worry about, because stuff that isn't crafted on site will obviously just be brought down into the cargo landing pad here anyways. So that is that. And I guess the pipes and decider combinators technically, but like... who really cares about those, to be honest? I guess we'll do it, just because we might as well. So we get a couple stacks of pipes and a stack of decider combinators. So now all of that should be stored over in this buffer chest, and that should help speed things along in the future. Okay, so this needs power, and it needs a drone port. So let's get those in, and that should give us our regular supply of iron plates. Alright, power is in. So this is now filling up, even if it doesn't have anything to do at the moment. And this kind of works like a low-budget version of what I have up north, where we have sort of an internal buffer here, although it's not anywhere near as good for a variety of reasons. Okay, so yeah, we get all of our iron plates, and then they get delivered up to here. So that has the sulfuric acid flowing again, which should get this whole thing running. Okay, then these guys are doing stuff. So we want those to be stack inserters so that they don't have belt capacity issues. And then we probably want to just do this for all of these different levels. Just get all the massive amount of junk cleared out of the drone storage. Okay, so now we have the problem where this green circuit supply isn't making it past these, so we actually want to split you and then merge you up there. And let's actually where is all this demand coming from even? Like, we need so many iron plates, and I don't know where they're all going. Obviously, some of them are just going up here to sulfuric acid, but surely not all of them, right? Oh wait, you have a request for 1,000, so that's definitely the cause. And also that those beacons need a power pole to work properly. And this seems to still be working as it has been. And have a couple more modules in that we didn't before. I'm not sure where they wound up. But I know they exist because that's 170. Oh, now it's suddenly 175. Did we just place a new recycler? Weird. How is that number going up? What's going on here? The number just went up by like 10, despite the fact that we didn't place any recyclers. Did they get like exploded or something? We didn't lose any drones recently, so it's not that. I have no idea what's caused that to happen. Fulgora support is turning around and leaving with only 160 advanced circuits. That sucks. That's not what we want to see at all. Alright, so now the green circuits go into here, and most of them don't even make it. Okay, so let's have that limited, and then this whole thing should jam and automatically stop working once we don't have anything to do with the extra iron plates. So we shouldn't need to do any smart logic there. It should just happen. So that should be all fine. And we actually probably want to accelerate that, so output priority left. This whole system doesn't wind up being especially helpful, but that's fine. So we are getting some natural green circuits through, so that's all good. And this is starting to backlog, so the plan is working. So this should eventually backlog to the point that most of the green circuits get through. And that should be any second now. It's kind of inconsistent. That's the one thing about passive provider chests like this, is that it is kind of inconsistent, but it should get there eventually. And this is also just no longer the problem. Like, now the problem is we've got too many of these guys going, which is a good problem to have, all things considered. So that's all doing its thing. Still at 185 quality modules remaining, and they're still all just up in here. So Fulgora support is on its way back. Transport platform doesn't do anything useful anymore. Only 160 red circuits there. Really stinks. It's not a good amount at all. And so I guess we're going to be relying on local production here off of our plastic supply, which is not incredible at all. But at least it's always something. It's not great, but it's going. It's going until the coal patch dies, which is going to be soon. So let's run down and add another coal patch in. So we just sort of copy that entire blob and just pop it down there, and connect the drones across to this conveniently nearby drone. Then get the power across as well. And then we just sort of yoink these tracks down. And that will be that. Okay, so these tracks, let's see, we kind of want to just yoink them off of this. That'll be easier than doing it any other ways because of like the specific situation where this is. Normally this would be a terrible idea, but here it's fine. Because we're about to be dismantling that coal patch in just a moment anyways. Alright, so that is in and starting to get built. We need a couple more roboports and power poles to show up. Okay, so the roboport is in, and now all this stuff is getting queued up. Are we going to need... Okay, now there are roboports in the block, which should be enough. So once that roboport gets built, which will be after this one, then it should be all set. So back over to Fulgora while we just wait for that to work a little bit in the background. So this is all going. And it looks like we're going to need to give it another kick of blue circuit input, which should be perfectly safe to do now. So that goes in, and we can just sort of leave it like that for a while, just to fill all this up, and then hopefully it just stays functional, and we don't even need to change it back. That would be cool if it happened. So that sends out all the green circuits, and then this can start running again, and we should see this eventually fill up to be outputting 2 full lanes of green circuits. If not, then who knows what'll happen, but that's the idea at least. And Fulgora support still over Novice. It's got 11 productivity modules. We're almost done with the productivity modules, right? That's going to be 11 and we need 13. Yeah, so that's basically that for productivity modules. Back here to look at the coal situation. And we need that electrical pole, but now that that's in, this is going to get charged up and then queue up a whole bunch of production, including this roboport, which will then get the rest of the entire build. So that all goes out and is slowly getting there. It's a lot of drone work to do, obviously. And our construction drones here on Novice are actually lower than on Fulgora somehow. I guess it's just a sign of how much stuff we've shifted to Fulgora and how much we've been emphasizing that. But it should be fine anyways. And this should be enough coal for the foreseeable future. We are going to need to worry a bit more about our defenses in a bit, because we're going to be expanding our pollution cloud a lot with these forward coal nodes, obviously. Okay, so back down to here. This still seems to be more or less operating correctly, and we're actually doing a pretty decent job of emptying out this massive buffer. There's still a ton left, but it is getting there, and that's pretty cool. Then over here we've got a all of the red circuits we could ever need. So that is sending a whole lot of epic blue circuits up into that, which is nice. And this, let's just set that up to 1,000. Just get the drones moving on that, because that's going to be the major limiting factor here, obviously. And we are apparently sending some green circuits past here to make legendary iron plates and such, which should be good for our eventual recycling machine completion. Then the red circuits should also be going through. It's tough to see what's taking them so long, but they'll be getting there for sure. And this should drain out our epic circuits pretty fast, and then we can get back to normal. And then we'll have to set up some similar thing to do for the rares. But this should massively boost the amount of epic blues, which should give us a big burst. Yeah, we've got like almost 1,000 reds going up now. That is going to be real nice. That is going to be absolutely fantastic once we get that up. So that's going to come back here and convert into a ton of modules. Okay, so now we've got this train stop, and we've also got this one, which is still technically working. So, there's nothing strictly wrong with the way this train stop is operating. It's got like almost full-ish belts. Could be worse. Could be a lot worse. And eventually, once this gets fully drained, which hopefully won't be too long now that it's so incredibly taxed, because the thing is, this is going to keep slowing down, and we've done this preemptively. We would like to have it entirely ready to go by the time we actually need it. So there's 251k coal in there. You see most of it. Most of these machines see most of it, but it's like this one machine is sitting on all the coal, whereas all these guys are about to run out and stop draining soon. So that might be tough. We might have to dismantle this preemptively. We might have to dismantle this station before it's technically completely dry, just because it becomes so low powered that it can't really do anything useful. Okay, and then let's also get... Oh wait, did that... That's already down here somehow. I'm not sure how. I didn't mean to copy paste that, but sure. Not sure how that got in, but not gonna complain. It's quite useful to have. And I don't think we need to push it forwards anymore. So this is still running. And still running at way faster than normal speeds. So we almost actually... Yeah, we actually had a full satisfied red circuit cargo this time around. And... what's the ratios on this anyways? Like, I need to figure this out at some point. I've always gotten halfway through the math and given up. So this is like 3.5 red circuits to 1 there. But it's also 3 to 1 of tier 2 modules. So we have 3.5 red circuits plus 3 tier 2 modules plus half a blue circuit. And then this is... okay, so this isn't fast enough to fully keep up with this, but it's like 2/3. So this would be like another 1.2 red circuits per second each for one of these. I don't know. The math is hard. Let's get a where do I have it? A display panel. Let's get one of those in so I can just write. All right. So it is. What's the ratios? Actually, can I see that? Well, with this open, I can. Cool. All right. So we have 3.5 red circuits plus 3 tier 2 modules equals 1 tier 3 module. Okay. And then there's also like 3.5 blue circuits in that same ratio. It's 3.5 blue circuits plus 3 tier 2 modules plus the superconductors, which I don't care about here because they're not the limiting factor. So then the tier 2 modules are, let's see, so that's like 0.81 to 0.24 is like 0.48, 0.7 something, so it's also like 3.5 to 1. Circuits plus how many blue circuits? 3.5 blue circuits plus, let me guess, like 2.5-ish, I don't know. 2.5 tier 1 mods equals 1 tier 2 mod. And then we have, yes, confirm those changes. So we need to move this around a little bit so I can see this. So then we have also 3.5 to 1. Okay, I think that's just correct. So 3.5 red circuits, and then I don't care about the green circuits because we have plenty of those. Equals 1 tier 1 module. Okay, so we need... Okay, let's just say it's like 3-ish. So we need like 3.5 red circuits for the final stage. Then we need like 10 red circuits for the module, for the tier 2 modules. And like 30 red circuits, maybe. So it's like 40 or 50, just completely eyeballing it. Like maybe 40 or 50 to 1, I don't know. So if we actually look here, the number they give is what? It doesn't even give it in terms of red circuits, so I don't know. Whatever, that's fine, because these red circuits have appeared, and they're getting delivered, and that's pretty neat. So Fulgora support, it did deliver all of those, and then turn around. It's only got 11 quality modules this time around. It'll probably have way more for its next trip, because this is gonna just sort of go. So the theoretical ratio is 5 to 1, but we have plus 50% productivity from the EM plants. So yeah, 3.5 to 1 is probably close to correct. Maybe more like 3.3 or something, but yeah, something along those lines. But anyways, the important thing is that this is all running now, and they are outputting the modules, as are the productivity modules. So we have apparently no more being delivered up to there. And this is already done. Man, those go crazy fast. It's kind of unreasonable how fast those just pass through and are finished. But still, this is getting us a good chunk of stuff. Okay, so we had some biter eggs hatch. That's fine. That's completely normal in this particular part of the map. And now we have 12 of these. Okay, let's do that same thing we'd done earlier, where we set this down to like 5, just so that on future deliveries it doesn't demand nearly as many. It's also just... that was a little bit not instantaneous enough for my liking. Let's get a couple more laser turrets around there. It's... could conceivably like bum rush this passive provider chest and destroy a huge amount of value, which would be bad. So let's try to prevent that. So now we have 14 of these, and then it's just a question of the plastic supply, which I assume is probably suffering from a lack of coal. Nope, it's just painfully slow as usual. Nothing extra to see there, it's just doing its normal thing. Okay, so then we hop down here. This is dropping off fast. It's dropping off fast, but it's still going. So this one machine is 30 per second almost on its own. So even once the rest of these die off, 30 coal per second is... it's not great, it's not terrible. Okay, so back over here, we've got this going. Are you done yet? Yeah, you're just about done, and you are done. So now we are just back to normal on this side of things. We're down to 178 quality modules missing up here. And let me guess, they put them in some random useless spot. Yep. Put them all back here for some reason. Okay, so this has been running with fresh supply connected for a while. The red circuits have backlogged a lot. The green circuits are still going through, but it's kind of sketch. Don't love that. And that is... it is causing problems for the future things, so... okay, that's just because of a sulfuric acid shortage. So what's your problem? Not enough sulfur, because not enough petroleum, because not enough light oil. So that is 80 light oil. These could take as much as 60 each. Okay, so there's... let's see. If we want to fix that, we need to get just more in general across this entire line. Actually, I wonder if we just legendary productivity module some of these guys, if that will help at all. Alright, let's see. So we need more sulfuric acid, and this chemical plant here is the bottleneck. So you take in heavy oil and water, and you output light oil. Now you output very directly, which is kind of gross. So that's not really expandable at all. So can we at least fit... No, it's not even super easy to fit another speed module in there. You're just kind of terrible. Can we... Okay, what we can do is we can just make legendary chemical plant. Alright, so this should theoretically be possible. We go assembly machine there. You are going to be taking in... You're going to be making legendary chemical plant. So we have the legendary steel beams and gear wheels at least producing, although they don't always necessarily exist because of their recycler production. But we can do that. Get you hooked up to read ingredients and set quests. And a power pole. And we're going to need the legendary pipes, which should be completely trivial. So we just copy that and build it in, except we set you to legendary, and then we correspondingly set you to legendary, and you are super limited. Let's limit you even further. And then you get to output to somewhere, which will be extremely limited. Just a single stack for now. Okay, so now we need to somehow miraculously increase the supply of legendary iron plates to here, which is clearly not easy to do. But we do have 3 coming in here, and these are all technically end products, so we're not going to be able to do anything useful with productivity modules. So that just is what it is. Also, this whole setup here is also not doing great on the sulfuric acid supply. Just happened to notice that. But it's not important, so I don't really care. Alright, so we apparently have some legendary iron plates coming out here. So that's good. And you also need legendary steel. We literally need one of these, which is going to require like a fair amount of legendary steel. Alright, so let's head over to here. This is sort of the main thing that we're doing, and oh dear. That's not what we wanted at all. Alright, so you are going to have to take in red circuits, and then you're going to have to be dismantled. So we need to get these red circuits off of this belt, because we need this to all start working again. And the legendary green circuits are all going through, making us our tiny little trickle of legendary iron plates, which could be so much better, but isn't. So that is almost... Let's see, so we're definitely making progress. This horrible red circuit input is almost gone. And now we just have to wait for it to trickle down this last little bit and then be on the right side of the belt and everything. And actually, okay, I didn't see a way of doing this before, now I do. So, if we have you merge in like that, then the red circuits need to be on the outside of this, so the left of the belt. So, you are filtered to be red circuits. You're therefore going to be green circuits. And you merge in like that. And then this whole thing can just work from there. So it'll sort the two things onto the correct sides of the belts and then be fine. So that is doing its thing. This is still doing whatever it needs to do. And I guess we can start trying to get these setups for the other types, but honestly it's kind of still cramped with all this stuff. So yeah, let's just leave this be for a while. I want it to work properly and not do weird stuff. And then this system up here is all sulfuric acid limited. So once that shows up, then we'll be in a good spot, but until then, we're kind of in trouble. So, legendary chemical plant. Did you ever manage to get crafted? No, we have everything except the legendary steel, which should be fine. We have 81 legendary iron being delivered right now. And it's going through. Okay, let's temporarily take you out so that all of this goes to steel production. And we have all the recyclers we need now, incidentally. So you're up to 4. Well, we need to get up to 6 or something. 5, maybe. We just need 1 of these. Okay, there we go. We have our legendary chemical plant. Now, we just need to not lose it in a storm. Chemical plant, legendary, you. Alright, we need that specific drone not to get struck by lightning, or we're gonna have serious issues. So that is going. And hopefully that will just work. And it's going to take a long time for that drone to travel across, but it should get there eventually. Okay, so now the uncommons are jammed from too many red circuits. So let's get that loaded up into here, and you are gonna have to be a bulk inserter instead of a stack inserter so that you don't cause problems. Alright, so that is all going. This, meanwhile, is... yeah, I think at this point, this station just isn't worth it anymore. So I think at that point we just tear you out and swap over to this one, which is going to be able to load a whole lot faster, at least at first, because it actually has full chests. And that should improve our supply of everything. If that was our chemical plant drone, I'm going to be so mad. It doesn't seem to have been. Okay, so that is all good. Now we've got our coal going out, and I think I noticed that we need some signals on this area just because of this weird turnaround. Alright, so we're able to fill up a couple of those guys pretty fast. We lost another drone on Fulgora, and again, doesn't seem to have been the super important one. Okay, yeah, no, this got built. So now you are output full, and this is now waiting on water. Alright, so you are waiting on water, which we can increase quite easily. We just need to do something like that. And that didn't introduce any new missing items, so that should be fine. This produces 200 light oil, which is more than enough to feed those two guys. And that should be going. Now we just have to see if this sulfuric acid supply is actually enough to get everything under control again. So I assume that these guys have been severely blocked while that's happened, which is a massive nuisance, but I'm going to trust in it to fix itself. Now, have any of these new machines been built yet? No, not yet, but we should be almost there. Looks like we're waiting on some foundations and a power pole or two. Okay, so once that foundation goes, that is an additional ice cube maker. So that's another 90 water. And then the beacons are going in and temporarily making these guys slow down, because of course they are. But this should get this back up to a reasonable level. Now, is this theoretically enough? So this machine makes 265. We need like 7 per machine, and we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 40 machines. So theoretically we need like 280 if everything was running at full capacity, which is probably nonsense. So it should be close, but it should be fine. We might use some spare productivity modules at some point to get that going better. Alright, so we have a whole bunch more modules going. Another 20-something, I think, that time. Which is actually a non-trivial dent in the total demand. So hopefully that works out well. But I think that's where we're going to wrap up for today. We are almost there. I think this is very nearly the final design. There might still be some tweaking left to do, but I think we're close, and we just sort of have to let it cook a bit. Just let all these guys warm up. Potentially just duplicate this, actually. Just get a whole second row of this setup in to make twice the sulfuric acid. That should solve that problem, if that is a problem. But yeah, that will be that. So tomorrow, I think we're going to be starting up... I haven't decided. I think we're going to be doing Dyson Sphere program on Tuesday. I haven't decided quite between that and Shapes 2. I was able to get both of them on the Steam Summer Sale, so that worked out quite nicely. But we're going to be doing one of those 2 games tomorrow, which should be fun. I think I've played both of them briefly, but years ago, so I never got very far in either. So it should be fun. Not quite blind playthrough, but like 90% blind, right? That's good enough. So yeah, that will be that. Thanks ever for hanging out. Make sure to follow if you haven't already. I stream every weekday from 2 to 5 Eastern Time, playing various factory building games. So if you're interested in that sort of stuff, then make sure to stop by then. Thanks ever for hanging out, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.